Good morning, students. Today's topic of discussion is point to point protocol. Please give the heading PPP or point to point protocol. In a network, two devices can be connected by a dedicated link or a shared link. In case of dedicated link, the link can be used by the two devices at any time. We refer to this type of access as point to point access. But in the second case, or in a shared link, the link is shared between pairs of devices that need to use the link. And this type of access is called multiple access. Multiple access can involve point to point access. When two devices in a multiple access situation get access to the link or a channel in the link, they may need to use a point to point access protocol to exchange data. So here we are going to discuss point to point protocol. This is one of the most common protocol today used. Millions of internet users who need to connect their home computers to the server of an internet service provider uses PPP. They use a traditional modem, a DSL modem or a cable modem. They are connected to the internet through either a telephone line or a TV cable connection. The telephone line or a cable TV connection provides a physical link, but to control and manage the transfer of data, there is a need for point-to-point protocol, and PPP is by far the most common one. So here, two types of connections can be seen. The first one is asynchronous serial connection, and second one is synchronous serial connection. Asynchronous and synchronous serial connection. Asynchronous serial connection is like plain old telephone service or POTS dial-up connection, whereas the synchronous serial connection will be integrated services for digital network or ISDN. This is also called point-to-point leased line. And there are two sub-protocols of PPP that are link control protocol or LCP, used in OSI layer or open system interconnection layer. Please note down the full form of OSI, open system interconnection. And the second one is network control protocol or NCP, which works at network layer of OSI, open system interconnection. So PPP provides several services, such as it defines the format of the frame, it defines how two devices can negotiate the establishment of the link and exchange of data, it defines how network layer data are encapsulated in the data link frame, it defines how two devices can authenticate each other. So these are the few features of PPP connection. Let us proceed to the next protocol, HTTP. HTTP stands for, please note down the full form, HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Please note down. HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol and is used in World Wide Web. The protocol transfers data in the form of plain text, hypertext, audio, video, and so on. It is called the Hypertext Transfer Protocol because it is used in an environment where there are rapid jumps from one document to another. It functions like a combination of FTP and SMTP. What is the full form of FTP? Please note down FTP, File Transfer Protocol. Please note down File Transfer Protocol. And the next one is SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. SMTP is Simple mail transfer protocol. So HTTP basically functions like a combination of these two protocols, FTP and SMTP. Like FTP, it transfers files and uses the services of TCP. And like SMTP, the data transfer between the client and the server are similar to SMTP messages. And the idea of HTTP is very simple. A client sends a request which looks like a mail to the server. The server sends the response which looks like a mail reply to the client. The request and response messages carry data in the form of a letter with a MIME-like format. Okay. So HTTP uses the services of TCP on well-known port. Write down the port number. This is very important. Well-known port 80. HTTP uses the services of TCP on well-known port 80. Okay. So the steps are link establishment phase, authentication phase, and network layer protocol phase. These are the three phases through which the PPP connection is established. And here you can see HTTP working criteria. See, user with a web browser sends request for a website to the server, and the response from this server comes to the user. HTTP requests to local DNS server, and then the HTTP responds it. So it is actually a request object and response object that is basically inside the HTTP request. Let us proceed. There are another protocol called remote login. This facility permits a user to log in to remote computer or interact with a program on another computer. So see, remote login through client software and via internet that remote computer can access to have the main office server. Then we have Telnet. Telnet protocol is used for accessing remote site server. Okay, this is basically Unix based. Then we have wireless or mobile communication protocol. Write down their names: GSM, GPRS, and WLL. GSM, GPRS, or WLL. GSM, GPRS, and WLL. Wireless communication is a type of data communication that is performed and delivered wirelessly between mobile devices. Write down the full form of GSM, Global System for Mobile Communication. Global System for Mobile Communication. It uses SIM cards or subscriber identity module to establish connection by means of unique user ID. There should be a mobile station and a base station subsystem. And here in the diagram you can go through the GSM systems architecture. If you can see, there is a SIM through which the base station is connected, subsystems are connected, and the whole network subsystem is carried out. Come to GPRS. Write down the full form: General Packet Radio Service. General Packet Radio Service. This is the simple GPRS system architecture. Here few support nodes are there. Write down their name. GGSN. GGSN full form is Gateway GPRS Support Node. GGSN, Gateway GPRS Support Node. And Serving GPRS Support Node, or SGSN. SGSN. These support nodes are used to get connect through the internet using GPRS system architecture. Come to WLL, that is wireless local loop. You can identify the functionality of wireless local loop via this diagram. Okay, wireless local loop. Generally, telephone transceiver accepts the signal and sends it to base station controller. This is the way wireless local loop accessed. Here in this table, several mobile communication technologies are compared. Go through this. If you see, the whole technology or feature of mobile communication is distributed into several generations, such as first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and fifth generation. Till now, fifth generation is working in India. In Japan, it is about 13G. So first generation or 1G, second generation or 2G, third generation or 3G, fourth generation or 4G, and fifth generation or 5G. Let us compare the timings. Starting off, 1G can be considered as 1980 to 1990, 2G 1990 to 2000, so one decades can be called. 3G 2000 to 2010, 4G is going on, but now in 2020 we are entering in the fifth generation phase. See the speed or the data rate. In 1G, only 2 kilobyte per second data rate was allowed, which is increased in 2G or second generation to 64 kilobits per second. In third generation, it increased to 2 MB per second, and in fourth generation it is 1 GB per second, whereas in fifth generation it is less. It is now greater than 1 GB. Okay. Come to the technology used. In 1G it is analog cellular technology. In 2G it is digital cellular technology. In 3G it is broadband CDMA IP technology. Write down the CDMA full form: code division multiple access. Code division multiple access. In 4G, WiMAX or Wi-Fi or LTE technology is used. In 5G, all the 4G technologies are there. Besides these, we have 4W security in 5G we are using. Services: analog voice service, no data service in 1G. In second generation, we have digital voice, SMS, MMS, higher capacity packetized data, etc. can be sent. In third generation, integrated high quality audio, video and data can be sent. In fourth generation, dynamic information access, wearable devices were used. And in fifth generation, we are going to use dynamic information access, wearable devices with artificial intelligence capability. And the multiplexing used was, in first generation it is FDMA. What is the full form of FDM? It is frequency division multiplexing. In second generation, we used TDMA and CDMA. Write down their full forms. TDMA is I'm forgetting the full form of TDMA. T is for what? I'll give you later on. CDMA, code division multiple access. TDMA is something. I'm just forgetting it. Okay, no matter. Write down CDMA. It is code division multiple access. In 3G also CDMA was used. 4G CDMA, and in 5G CDMA is used. The standards used are MTS, AMTS, IMTS in 1G. Switching was circuit switching, and core network was PSTN. In second generation, standards used are GSM, Global System for Mobile Communication, GPRS, and the switching techniques used was packet switching and circuit switching, and core network was PSTN. In third generation, IMT, HDSPA and HSUPA technologies were used, packet switching used, and packet network was the network used. In fourth generation, WiMAX, LTE and single unified standard WiMAX were used. All packet switching, internet internet core network used was internet. In fifth generation also it is not changed, single unified standard and all packet switching, and internet will be the core network. So these are the comparison of mobile communication technologies. Let us see some of the mobile processor name, also known as chipset. Mobile processors, also known as chipsets. Write down some of their names. Actually, if we classify through cores, it may be have dual core, quad core, octa core or hexa core. Okay. Some popular mobile processors are, write down, Snapdragon 665, MediaTek Helio, Snapdragon 765, MediaTek G90, Kirin 990, etc. So these are few mobile processors name. In the next class we will go through some email protocols. Okay, thank you very much for today.